the son of the sort of crazy old man who started the avalanche, and then he committed suicide. The last 2 episodes, we found out that the murders weren't committed by the same person. The mayor was killed by Andre, the police chief's father, or ex-father-in-law, I suppose, the father
I'm
of
so
his
glad
ex-wife.
you did this, because I would have missed a lot of this. I was paying attention.
But after finding like a lock in his trouser pocket that was the lock to the shed of the mayor's house that burned, and it was all to do with a fire that had been started years before, where the father-in-law's youngest daughter had died in the fire, and it was also sort of linked to the other murder in so much as the guy who was murdered started the fire and managed to drag the other lad, is Hodor? I keep wanting to say that's a character in Game of Thrones, but it's sort of pronounced like that.
It's kind of
It's
pronounced
got like
similarly,
a J.
yeah.
It's got like a J in it.
It's got a lot of letters in there.
Yeah,
It doesn't
there's a lot of the... Andre is basically the only sort of name.
And Maggie.
The mother of Maggie, who is Luke's favourite character, the ginger child, killed the other guy who raped her. And was Maggie the product of a rape?
Yes.
Or was he?
Yes.
And basically tried to come to see Maggie again to bring him a fire truck, which was a nice link to both the fire that killed the mayor and the fire at the fish factory. And the bigger picture then was that the fire at the fish factory was sort of manufactured between these sort of town elders, if you were, the mayor, the guy who runs the fish factory, the guy who owns the hotel, and they manufactured this, got the father-in-law to doctor the insurance documents, and it's basically, and it was something to do with the financial crisis. They fit all that in. They needed the money to rebuild the town. And it was really clever how they linked all of these things in.
Trapped is a good example, because a lot of these foreign dramas that I've come to love, like The Killing, The Bridge, they're so dense with plot. But I mean, there were times in Trapped that I forgot connections with people and forgot who was who. But also what they do is they present a story without going, this is this person, that is that person, this is... You just have to watch it and work it out along the way.
Because there are so many characters. Overall, Trap, one of our favourite series of the year. Now, I was thinking, would it come back, or do you think that one-off story is enough? Because obviously they brought back The Killing, they brought back The Bridge. I like to see these characters again.
I think it was the atmosphere and the claustrophobicness of it that made it so appealing, and the weather, and that it was just. I like to see
Harinka. I think her name was the dinky little woman cop who was lovely.
Yeah.
We should talk briefly about Follow the Money as well.
Can I just link this up actually?
Yeah.
Follow the Money, which we'll get to in a second. Matt's not a big fan. We had Maggie in the chapter who was a key character, and there was a boy called Bertram in Follow the Money, who I'm already thinking is a key component.
But I know why you like Follow the Money.
Yeah, so do I.
Claudia.
Yeah.
She's basically a combination of what's her name from Borgen, the journalist from Borgen, and the daughter from Hostages.
Yeah, if those two had a kid,
that is what she looks like.
Yeah.
Katrine is the character in Borgen. Oddly, this was about a body being found near the water by a cop.
Yeah.
A sort of weird, eccentric cop in this, Mads, played by, I believe the actor's name is Thomas Bo Larsen. He's quite a famous film actor.
Oh, is he? Is he?
I think he was in The Hunt, and also...
I love that so much.
They find the body, they link it back to, he's, I believe, a Ukrainian worker at a wind farm, and they link that wind farm back to the company, which is called Energreen. Running alongside the investigation, you get various employees from Energreen. You meet the CEO, you meet Claudia, who we mentioned, who's a sort of ambitious lawyer who is sort of desperate for a break to get noticed by the bigger bosses. And there's some sort of stuff about insider trading. And then there's sort of an odd secondary plot about this young couple who are looking for a flat, and they're going to steal cars. Car thief, and they're going to steal the car. Is it one of the employees from Energreen whose car they're stealing? And that's sort of how it links in, but that seems like a weird subplot that doesn't quite fit in with the rest of it. I mean, I don't know, I just felt oddly removed from everything that was going on. I didn't feel like with Trapped, as you said, you got caught up in that claustrophobic nature of it. With this, it was all very stylish, static. Just there wasn't anything that grabbed me, and the sort of twist at the end where the other cop from the fraud squad turns up to Mads's house and goes, you know, we need to stop these people. They're covering up these crimes. This company sort of corrupt and all of that. And it wasn't enough to hook me to watch the next episode. If you think about some of the hooks we've had in, say, The Killing episode by episode and Trapped and The Bridge, Follow the Money. And I know it's sort of maybe a slower pace, but I think we're used to a certain quality, you know, a certain standard from the foreign dramas. And I just don't think Follow the Money, it took me a long time to actually get through, like several sittings to actually get through the first episode.
I will watch the second one, because there were elements of it that I liked a lot, like his family dynamic and the fact that his wife had an illness. I liked him, I liked her. But, you know, so I will see...
Claudia.
So I will see how I get on with it. You want to do Stag? Just do a brief recap.
Stag is a sort of comedy drama from Jim Field Smith, who created The Wrong Mans. It's about a stag party in Scotland for Stephen Campbell Moore's character, whose brother-in-law is played by Jim Howick, who's a bit different from all the others. All the others are sort of laddie, blokey, bantery sort of guys, and Jim Howick's this sort of mild-mannered geography teacher. As the series goes on, people start to be killed, and they try and work out, you know, who is it that's the murderer. Initially, they think it's the gamekeeper played by James Cosmo, but then he ends up dying in an explosion. Then they think it's the Australian sort of gatecrasher Christoph. But in the end, the revelation is that it is Stephen Campbell Moore's character alongside, I can't remember the woman's name, who's helping him, who they had these two had a romantic link before, and they're basically trying to kill everyone off to get their hands on this investment scheme or something, was it, that they'd all invested in together, and the stag party was sort of a ruse to get all the friends back together, and Jim Howick basically got caught in the crossfire because he wasn't one of the friends, and almost like his sister was almost like a decoy, like the whole wedding wasn't the plan. He was planning to run away with this woman after the stag do.
Get all his friends to a isolated place, bump them off one by one, and run away with the girl at the end. I
mean, I love Jim Howick in this, even though we've known him from other things. It was sort of a star-making turn, I think, in his own.
Yeah, this is the one where I thought, no, he's better than a lot of the things he's done, actually.
I mean, he's in Aliens as well at the moment, isn't he? This is sort of his banner year, I think it will be.
I know you struggled with the whole, you know, it's about him meeting a girl and things, and having a girl involved. I quite liked that, because it was...
I don't know, it just felt almost a bit anticlimactic. I think the bit where he turned on Ledge, was it Ledge, the best man? And I liked the way the sort of the men mellowed as it went on. And you found out, like, you know, the Mexican was gay, Ledge was infertile. I loved Rufus Jones throughout. I just thought he was brilliant, and it was just great. It was
just, again, one of those. I mean, we knew from Jim Field Smith that we loved The Wrong Mans, but I had no real thoughts about this, expectations for this.
I'll tell you what,
it's been very surprising.
I'll tell you what unsettled me was the bit they had that slight doubt.
Ed Sheeran at the beginning.
No, the Reece Shearsmith popping up again as the copper.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that.
No, you didn't. You missed that completely. He was the police officer who took the woman away at the end, and they focused in on the fact that it was Reece Shearsmith.
How on earth did I miss that?
That was what unsettled me, and obviously you missed that, so you didn't.
I did completely. So is that to say he was part of the plot as well, then?
Maybe, because he was the one who organised all the money, wasn't he? He was the one, they said he organised terms and conditions or something. He was the money man, wasn't he?
I didn't notice that.
And we never saw him die, did we? They just found his ID or something.
And his legs.
You weren't sure that they were his legs. Do you know what I mean? They just found the ID in those legs.
I feel terrible that I didn't pick up
that. That was like the twisty bit at the end. Should we have Gary back?
Yeah, we're getting him back. I don't know, I don't see the point, but we'll get him back.
13 episode 3 because it feels like so long ago since I watched it that
I know,
you'll
you
have to
probably
remind
feel
me.
like it's months ago.
Well, I haven't finished watching all of it, but I've only watched about 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's 10 minutes there.
So what's happening in this episode, Gary?
It starts with the reveal that Ivy has not been kidnapped, that it was the dad of the girl that's gone missing or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't think they did that overly well.
No. I think
They
it was
that.
just like a hook to watch the next.
Yeah.
It's like, has she been kidnapped again? And
exactly. They brushed it apart quite quickly.
My favourite bits about this episode were the connection between the sisters when they sort of regressed back to being 12.
Eating sweets together and
under
talking
a
about
fort.
sex.
I feel sorry for poor old Craig.
Yeah, I do. I do.
God damn it.
I get the impression at some point Craig will say something to his fiancée about the sleeping arrangements.
But I do feel, and this is the first time I thought this watching episode 3, I think with a lesser actress than Jodie Comer, I don't think I'd have stuck with this, because although the plotting's good, I think the acting for most of the other people outside of Jodie Comer...
I think Richard Rankin's good.
Yeah,
the mother is not a good actress. I don't get her character at all.
And I don't even know. Anorin Banyard, is it?
Yeah, I don't like him. I don't like his wife. I don't like Eloise, the friend. But without Jodie Comer as that hook there, I don't think I'd be as interested as I am.
Jodie Comer's been announced to reunite with Nico, hasn't she, this week?
I know.
Oh,
Who dropped something?
Me.
What did you drop then?
Power cord. I'm plugging my laptop in. So, Gary, what are you thinking of? Are you still enjoying it? Because Luke's saying...
I'm still enjoying it. It's just, as you say, I kind of agree with something Luke said just before we started. Because of the way in which it's being shown, you're not sure which episode you're watching, and, I just think...
Because they've all gone online now, would it be preferable if they'd have dropped all at the same time?
I think so.
They should have followed the Netflix and thing. If you drop all the episodes in one go, and then they've got the option of then showing them on BBC Two. And once people watch that first episode, I think they would have gone online and watched them. But all they can do is watch the next episode online. They've kind of got in the middle of a good idea. So hopefully that they've learnt their lesson.
I don't think they have a plan yet.
They did it with Carshare, didn't they? Carshare was online, all of them, wasn't they?
Yeah.
And then they showed them on BBC One, and yet they still got good audiences on BBC One. And I don't know what 13 has done on BBC Two, but
it's in a weird time and on a weird night.
True.
So I don't know.
I'll just briefly mention Murder. What I would recommend is the third and final one, which aired last Thursday. That, for me, because if you remember, the original pilot basically followed the investigation into a murder.
Right.
As did the next two, the ones Morgan Christie and Anne-Marie Duff investigating, and there was like the suspects and things like that, and the days went on. But this one was very, very different. It focused on 3 men who'd been involved in murdering an off-duty policeman 10 years ago, and were now his daughter, who'd grown up and was like in late teens, played by Jessica Barden, wanted to know which one of the 3 actually murdered him, because during the court case, none of them admitted that they actually murdered him.
Oh, right.
And she'd been in like not young offenders, but had sort of had like psychological problems and stuff, and the therapist had written to the men asking them if they would finally reveal which one did it. And as the other episodes have got, it's to camera monologues, it's CCTV footage. They show footage of when he was murdered. He was basically dropping her off at swimming practice and then going to the back car park where the criminals were. And you saw all this CCTV footage. You saw her skipping through the bit of the leisure centre or wherever they were, and it was just brilliantly done. And I thought Jessica Barden was brilliant, and Michael Smiley was in this as well as one of the 3 men, and he was brilliant. And it was just like an hour of really good drama.
Whoever comes out of that door, no one ever comes out of that door.
So why is he dead? If the bath doesn't flood, he lives. The woman Mum works with comes in anyway, he lives.
How can you legislate for that? You can't legislate for that.
Mum's boss doesn't say that about him not seeing enough of me, so she calls someone else. He lives. He's working and he can't take me. He lives.
If I had to do that all again, I'd do it exactly the same way, and that wouldn't happen.
Mum has a few words of him, even angry words, maybe especially angry words, so he's a few minutes late getting to my school. He lives. He lets me get changed at school, so we arrive at the pool 5 minutes later. He lives.